Hello, everyone. We are about to get started with our town hall, courtesy of Equality Florida. Our topic today is going to be talking about LGBTQ businesses in the state of Florida. We will give a few minutes to for those of you that are kind of making your way into the live screen, so you can see us. Just hang tight with us. We will be with you shortly, and we'll start our conversation. In the meantime, make sure that you have liked the Facebook pages for Equality Florida, for Equality Means Business, and our Open Doors Florida programs. There's more information on those pages about those individual programs, and we'll be talking about them a little bit in today's show. Hang tight, and we'll be with you in just a second. Also, the comment section, if you're watching us on YouTube or if you're watching us on Facebook, if you enter comments or questions into the comment section, we will absolutely try to get to them before the end of our show today. So we're super excited that you're here, and I'm really excited about having this conversation with this fabulous panel of experts. So we will be with you in just a few minutes. Once again, if you're just joining us, this is the live town hall that is being brought to you by Equality Florida. And today's topic is going to be about LGBTQ businesses and how they're being impacted by the COVID-19 crisis, the pandemic. We've got some great experts here to talk about what they are seeing in their respective organizations. And we're really excited about providing some hopeful and helpful information for small business owners, LGBT business owners, and for folks that keep or that are interested and concerned about our LGBTQ businesses in the state of Florida. So we will be with you in just a minute or two. Give you some time to come on in, have a seat, grab your cocktail, have fun. And we'll get going in just a second. If you are just coming in, just a quick reminder or a quick note that we are here live, our live town hall, courtesy of Equality Florida. And our discussion today is going to be about LGBT businesses in the state of Florida, how they're being impacted by the current pandemic and the current crisis, and some of the ways that they are going to be helped, hopefully. And our panel of experts will be started in just a minute or two. So hang tight with us. If you have any questions for us that you would like for us to address at some point before the end of our show that we'll try to get to. If you could put them in the live comments, that would be great. If you're joining us on YouTube or if you're joining us on Facebook, we will see both of them. So. Great, so why don't we go ahead and get started? And I want to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit and giving all of our experts an opportunity to quickly introduce themselves before we get into the conversation. So I'm going to hand it over to our state rep, Anna Eskamani, to do just a quick intro. Hi, Anna.
Hi, Renee. Hi, everyone. State Representative Anna V. Eskamani. So I represent downtown Orlando, Winter Park, and Belle Isle here in the Sunshine State. And we have been 24/7 engaged in COVID-19 response for our small businesses and our unemployed Floridians, alongside just trying to fight for better healthcare access and PPE. And so we're really honored to be part of this conversation, and looking forward to what questions folks have.
Awesome. Thanks, Anna. Jonathan, you want to do a quick intro?
Thanks, Renee, and hello, everyone. Back home at Equality, Florida. I miss being home, and I miss being with my family, who are all in the Orlando area right now, doing the best they can to stay safe and sane through all of this. So my love to everyone back home in the Sunshine State. I'm Jonathan Lovett, Senior Vice President of the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, the business voice of the LGBT community, and the certifying body for LGBT businesses across the country, and now in 18 countries around the world. And very honored to be here with all of you, with Representative and with Kelly and Keith, two of our incredible chamber leaders from the 5 chambers that represent the state of Florida. We're so grateful that Equality Florida asked us to come chat a bit about businesses, and pleased to join you.
And we're excited to have you on the panel today. Kelly, just you want to do a quick intro?
Sure. I'm Kelly Parkin. I'm the Executive Director of the Pride Chamber, formerly known as MBA Orlando. So that may be what many of you know us by. But we are the LGBT Chamber of Commerce for all of Central Florida, and that's LGBTQ and allies.
Great. Keith, you want to do a quick intro?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me, Renee. I'm pleased to be here. My name is Keith Blackburn. I'm President and CEO of the Greater Fort Lauderdale LGBT Chamber of Commerce, and we serve all of Broward County in South Florida.
Awesome. Again, welcome to all of you guys. We appreciate you being here, especially knowing that, Keith, you're actually calling in from Colombia.
Yes.
So hopefully you're staying safe. And Jonathan, I know you're based in Philadelphia. Is that correct?
Yes. My current love is with cheesesteaks, but my full-time love is always with Florida. Don't worry.
Thank you, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right. So just before we get started, I just wanted to kind of frame a little bit of the discussion. First of all, say welcome to all the folks that are coming onto the chat and joining us for the live town hall. We're really excited about having this conversation, and I'm particularly excited about this conversation because the work that I've always done has always been helping businesses be successful in what they're doing through chambers of commerce. And now through my work at Equality Florida. So it's exciting that we're having this discussion, exciting that we are talking about how we are going to be a resource for our businesses and how we can help them. So we'll get to that in just a second. Just for those of you that are not familiar with Equality Florida, we are the statewide advocacy organization for the LGBT community. We are the largest civil rights organization dedicated to securing full equality for Florida's LGBT community through education, grassroots organizing, coalition building, and lobbying. We want to make sure that nobody in Florida who is LGBT faces any discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. Again, my name is Renee Cantu. My position at Equality Florida is Business Outreach Manager, which is sometimes a mouthful for some of my coworkers. And I'm super excited about having this panel with us today. The business engagement programs of Equality Florida. When we decided to make the business community an important part of the work that we do, we realized that businesses and the business people in Florida have a strong voice in what happens when it comes to advocacy for the LGBT community. So the role that I play, I get to harness that energy and that excitement so that we are able to move some stuff forward. And we've created some great programs that harnesses and celebrates those partnerships that we've made one of which is called Equality Means Business. And this is where our large employers in the state of Florida get to let us know how they're doing in LGBT inclusion and what programs they're coordinating within their workplaces to help create that culture that is welcoming and inclusive of our community. Our Open Doors program is an opportunity for our small businesses to be a part of an online information resource that basically says we are welcoming. We want to work with anyone, any of our employees or any of our customers, with no regard to discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. Both of those, we've got a website for each of them that you can get more information about them. So to kind of frame the discussion today, I want to invite Anna to give a little bit of an update on some of the relief programs that have been put in place. I know myself, I've sat in on several webinars and Zoom calls that have helped to help me to understand how those programs are working. But I know, Anna, you've got a great grip of how those things are coming along. You want to tell us a little bit about what you're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the reality too is that many of these relief programs just aren't enough. And I say that out of the context that today it was announced that the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, that many small businesses have relied on to try to get payroll to their staff, ran out of money today. And it was announced by the Small Business Administration that they were not able to accept new applicants. And I know that speaking to some of my small businesses in my district, they didn't make the cut. And whether it was because their banks missed the mark on how to apply or were overwhelmed, we're definitely sensing a lot of frustration on the ground among different programs that folks applied for, whether it's the state's emergency bridge loan program or the PPP or the EIDL, which my understanding too is that the EIDL has shifted its original form to now set a new eligibility of $1,000 per employee up to $10,000 versus the original program, which was $10,000. So with all that said, I'm sure many folks who are watching us today have already applied or were applying or thinking of applying. And so I definitely encourage you to continue engaging with your member of Congress when it comes to relief, because there's, I would say, 80% chance, if not more, of a CARES Act 2.0. Which is going to likely put more money towards some of these current programs, but also revisit some of the areas that were kind of left behind. And I'm seeing different advocacy groups lift up those type of areas. But now is the time to contact a member of Congress and share your concerns. And we've heard from, for example, sole proprietors who couldn't consider themselves in the PPP when applying for funding. So, I think the intention of lawmakers in Congress was very good, but when it became operational, a lot of inequities were highlighted. And in particular, when the PPP program was announced, I found myself, triaging calls from small businesses and emailing the lobbyists of different banks in our state because some banks were setting their own rules or weren't able to accept applications and et cetera, et cetera. So your state lawmaker can also play an important role in advocating on your behalf. And so definitely check in with that as well. And one of our most recent initiatives that we have led is really providing an outlet of advocacy for our small businesses. So our district is very special in the fact that we have several main streets in House District 47 that we work with really closely, even when it's not an emergency, just to support the sense of community and collective efficacy. So we have been working with our Main Street directors very closely and our small businesses, and we actually developed a sign-on letter that's basically grounded on Save Florida Small Businesses. And it's a list of requests to the governor of Florida that does include a moratorium on evictions for commercial leases up to 90 days. We also asked for there to be an extension of the sales tax and use tax alongside property tax deadlines. We also request more money into Florida's emergency bridge loan program, which was another area of disappointment for me, because this was a program that was highly marketed to small businesses. And though 38,000 small businesses applied in Florida, only 1,000 were awarded, and the other 37,000 didn't even get a notice or an update. And so a lot of frustration there as well. So we are advocating for more money into that program. And the bridge loan program, for folks who don't know, it's supposed to serve as a short-term bridge between your ability to receive federal funding. And it's a zero interest loan for 1 year. And as I noted, it was in high demand, and yet the state only funded it to $50 million and did not provide more money to it. So we want to see that program expanded. And in that letter, we also reference working with Congress, working with lenders to try to get more PPP and so forth. So I definitely encourage folks to visit our social media accounts where we're talking about this pretty proactively. You can sign on to that letter if you're a small business or a supporter of small businesses, and definitely look forward to a CARES Act 2.0. But communicate to us what your needs are. Let us know how we can help, and know that you have folks fighting for small businesses from every angle.
Is there anything in particular that just going off of the fact that the PPP is out of money now? What are the banking institutions supposed to do now? I mean, I just read an article in the South Florida Business Journal about banks that had already approved, or SBA loans had already been approved, but only a certain number got funded.
Right.
How are they going to react?
Well, my first reaction is I definitely encourage folks that if you were planning to apply, you should still contact your lender, because there likely will be more money into the PPP, and I think it's important to get ahead of the curve of new funding. And so I know most lenders have like pre-application type of forms and ways that you can, at the very least, express your interest and get the first steps done, even if there's no money there. But that's why Congress needs allocate more funds, because you're right. There are many banks that did approve and we're going through the processes, and then the money ran out. And there's a lot of concern too about big businesses getting more attention than small businesses. And I know for Equality Florida and for our LGBTQ chambers across the country and across the state, that we really do prioritize small businesses, and we lift up our small businesses that add so much character and GDP to our country. About 49% of Florida's private employees are employed by small businesses. So it's a major part of our economy. And if folks were looking towards PPP, I definitely encourage you to still contact your lender, see what their options are available to you, and pursue them. And also know that on the unemployment insurance front, we have been very active in working on improving that system. It is a hot mess right now. The governor is actually speaking right now during a press conference on it. And so we have been very engaged on fighting to improve Florida's unemployment insurance program, as we know many small businesses have had to furlough their staff. And we want to make sure that those staff can get back to work when this crisis is over.
Great. Great info. Thanks. So now, Jonathan, I know that you've been kind of monitoring this situation as well. What have you heard? Anything that we haven't already heard from Anna?
Well, the representative gave a great overview of what's happening in the state and federally, and I want to also take this time to talk about what we're doing nationally and collectively as an organization to not just represent LGBTQ interests, but remember, LGBTQ people are women, people of color, veterans, those with disabilities, et cetera. So our small businesses are representative of everyone's small businesses. And as the representative said, we as LGBT business owners, all 1.4 million that the NGLCC represents nationwide, represent nearly $2 trillion in GDP impact. But that's in a normal year, and we're in an anything but normal situation right now. So we're working collectively with our community partners at other major national organizations to make sure the issues that affect our business owners, and as the representative said, micro businesses that have often been left out of this, or frankly, very busy or running their own shop trying to keep themselves afloat and can't take time to access some of these resources, as well as organizations such as those that Kelly and Keith run, making sure that they, who are some of the most deeply connected to the community, who have the pulse of what business owners need, are getting the resources that they need to stay afloat, keep their team engaged, and support our community in the most hyper-local way. I do want to also point out the resource page that we have available that I know we can share with everyone on this call, nglcc.org /COVID-19, or just go to nglcc.org and it'll be the first thing you see in our landing page. It's not just economic resources like you're hearing about from the SBA and our other organizational partners, but also direct to business resources that may be helpful. Things like, for example, UPS offering shipping and logistics support, often at low or no cost, to businesses who are trying to get their products to market and need a little assistance right now. We're also seeing all kinds of ways that our small business owners, led by our local affiliates, are getting involved in essential local efforts. For example, getting PPE through some of our certified business owners who work in supply chain distribution, shipping, et cetera. They're being directly connected to some of the medical partners and directed to cities and states who need it. And additionally, I know Kelly can speak to the great things happening in Orlando through the Million Masks Project. I'll let her talk to that. But our business owners are not just looking out for their business and their communities and their employees, but also the broader national picture. And they're making sure that their resources that they have available are being shared with us so that we can share it with the community. So I do encourage everyone to look at that and see what businesses big and small have available to help support one another. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about this down the line, but as no organization has the pulse on the community more than their local LGBT chamber. They know what their business owners need. They know what their community's fears and hopes are. They also know who's got what available. And as we're looking at things like buying gift cards to local businesses so they have an influx of cash now, supporting your local restaurants, which may be LGBT owned, certified, or ally owned and supportive of the community, can all be found through your local affiliate chamber, all of which you can find at nglcc.org. You'll see an affiliate chambers tab up top. But go to these community leaders and ask them, what do your stakeholders need? How can we help? How can we also be of service to one another as business owners and leaders in a time when this may potentially be a downturn in our down period in some business owners' day-to-day operations, but this could be the perfect time to build that website you've always needed, redo that one-pager so you can answer those RFPs when contracting opportunities are back around on the other side of this. That's a great time to engage your fellow LGBT business owner to build that website, do that graphic, share those resources. There are lots of people out there with incredible goods and services available, everything from your taking your business online and hosting your meetings that way to food service and business cards and everything in between. As we always say at the NGLC, if you can buy it, an LGBT-owned business can supply it. And I think that's ever more important right now in this moment when we could be supporting our community locally by engaging our business owners.
Wow, yeah, those are amazing points, and I think one of the things that you talk about is how the local chambers are really sort of that place where chamber members are able to go to kind of find the solutions or seek out issues or things that can help them with their companies. Kelly, what are you seeing with your members in Orlando in terms of some of the issues that they're dealing with? And I mean, specific to Orlando, I mean, I love every time that I go to Orlando. I have such an amazing time, and I hate the fact that some of those businesses are just struggling now.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks, Renee. We're seeing a variety of issues. Definitely, we do have a handful of members who are doing okay because their business is either essential or I don't think anyone's doing great, but we do have some that are doing fine. We have some who have not been able to get funding. They tried, but their lender wasn't able to help them, so they went to someone else. A lot are waiting. We do have a lot of micro businesses as well, the sole entrepreneurs or micropreneurs. who had a lot of difficulty, who are having a lot of difficulty with funding. So that's really the biggest issue. What's been nice to see, because Orlando is such a resilient community, so we're seeing a lot of creativity and resourcefulness, which makes me very proud of our people here. Jonathan mentioned one of our members, Andrea. She just started a new company called Echo Strategies, and it's designed to help other businesses with their recycling and their sustainability needs. And then this happened, and so everything kind of got put on hold. And so she has just taken the initiative in the Million Mask Challenge and gathered all of these people around Central Florida who can also sew, and they've been fulfilling needs all over the place, and they've been doing it all on their own and out of pocket. So now they're starting to say to the larger companies like the hospitals and the city and counties, help us pay for this material, but they're still all doing it as a volunteer basis, and it's just really neat to see people come together. So I'm seeing a lot of that.
Keith, what about Fort Lauderdale? I know you're actually not in Fort Lauderdale, but I know you're in constant communication with
Yes.
your members.
I'm working all day reaching out to members.
What do you see?
A lot of the same things that Kelly mentioned that we're seeing the same way in Fort Lauderdale, in Broward County, and to Jonathan's point, I'm going and trying to work with people, trying to suggest people kind of sit back, use this time to analyze their business, pre COVID-19, see what worked for them, what didn't, maybe tweak their business plan for later, work on the website. We use a platform that's pretty robust. Everyone has a dedicated page. So today we're reaching out to a lot of people, trying to get them to update it. We're doing weekly Zoom sessions. Each one has a featured speaker. We had one this week that was good. One of our members specializes in setting people up on networks and remote working workstations and things like that. So it's relevant topics. Before that, it was about the paycheck loans 2 weeks ago, and we're working on a topic for next Tuesday. So we're doing this every Tuesday at 2 for our members, and we encourage everyone to join us. And I think in Fort Lauderdale is, and I'm sure Kelly will agree with, in Orlando, so much of our business is relying on tourism. We have a lot of hotels. They've kind of reinvented themselves. I think probably 25% maybe of our hotel members are opened, and they're serving first responders or people who've been displaced from their homes. So we're trying to pass that information. We're gathering information for our resource page, what businesses are open, what are not, and everyone's been affected. So no one's been immune to this. So we're just trying to be a resource and help.
Awesome. For those of you just joining us, we are hosting our live town hall, courtesy of Equality Florida. Today's focus is on the LGBT business community. My name is Rene Cantu, and I'm joined by our guests, Kelly Parkin with the Pride Chamber in Orlando, Keith Blackburn from the Fort Lauderdale LGBT Chamber of Commerce, State Representative Anna Eskamani from Orange County, and Jonathan Levitz with the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce. So this question, or this next topic, is directed at the three folks coming in from the chambers. One of the things that we noticed with the CARES Act was that it did not include any relief money for 501c6 organizations, and that includes you all. I understand that the reason behind that was because they didn't want any of those relief funds to go to lobbying efforts, which is disregarding the fact that 501c6 organizations also does include chambers of commerce that are really important source of resources for their members. How are you guys able to still, provide the services that you're providing without that relief? Jonathan?
Well, Renee, I'll tell you this goes right to the heart of NGLCC and the work that we're doing, not just with these outstanding local affiliates, but also with our organizational partners around the country. That was something in the original text of the CARES Act that had been added, along with a lot of other categories that were ultimately not in the final bill, at least in the initial rounds of the CARES Act, but we're fighting very hard for now. And for all the reasons that you just laid out, at 501c6s, which are chambers of commerce, which are economic development organizations, they're the most trusted community partners of small businesses and the nonprofits who need this relief most. We are the ones who have the intimate relationships with the business owners who know, as we said, their hopes and their dreams and their fears. We are the ones that they come to say, can you please help us navigate this tricky water? So it's imperative that these 501c6s be included in this relief the same way 501c3 nonprofits are. We definitely understand that there are concerns around how those dollars are used, but there are already provisions both in the law and regulatory that affect how existing dollars can be used. So that's a fix that can be made right now. But we want to be sure that these 501c6s who also have staff who need to be kept on to take care of our community, who help dole out resources in the form of grants and recovery programs through their foundations and through some of their charitable arms, are able to do that and keep their lights on. So we, in coalition with our diverse community partners, are continuing to fight for that. And I think you'll see hopefully some movement on that in the weeks ahead. Additionally, we want to further strengthen the protections for the micro businesses, those who have potentially either been left out or felt like they had unequal access to some of the lending programs out there, and also make sure everyone is aware of while waiting, as I said, while waiting for these government programs, that there are for-profit entities out there and foundations, corporate donations out there available for organizations, for nonprofits, for small business owners, for entrepreneurs. For example, we're seeing Facebook taking applications now for $10,000 grants for some of their clients to use who are out there in the small business ecosystem. So there's a lot out there, and it can be tricky to navigate, but it's all the more reason that your local affiliate chamber can be one of your best gateways to things that are happening the city, state, county level, as well as whatever we're able to share from national advocacy. And that's why these partnerships are so important.
I love your use of the word gateway. I think that's a perfect descriptor for how you guys are able to provide those resources. Kelly, how are you managing?
Well, we're doing okay, and a lot of that has to do with our members. We haven't stopped invoicing. We collect annual dues on a monthly basis, but we've let everyone know that we can defer those payments if they need it, no questions asked. And what's been really great is that we're seeing some people that need to take that up, but others who are saying, no, I can do this right now, and that makes it possible for us to continue doing what we're doing, and that's great. And we've had a few really good years, and so we're in a position where we can get through this time, but it's definitely a leaner budget for sure. But that's what we have to do. We just stop spending money and we get through this together. So I think I echo everything that Jonathan said, and I really do hope that chambers are included. We've also been in discussion with our local governments to make sure that to see what they can do as well, because there are several of us diverse chambers that really provide a key role in the community.
Keith, I really like that you're doing your sort of networking meetings online with one of your members being sort of a guest presenter online. What are the other ways that you're able to kind of provide that service for your members?
Well, we're using the Zoom platform, trying to connect as best we can with people, offering private one-on-one sessions, whether it's to just go over a business plan, help them with any resources they need, give them any encouragement, assistance with our website, getting things out there. We're in the same position as Kelly with we rely all on membership dues and partnerships, and I think because of the fact that we're strong in tourism with where we are, so that tourism is going to take a long time to come back. So there's some concerns moving forward. If they found a cure, if they found a treatment in 6 months or whatever, I think it's going to take time to regroup. I don't think that's going to happen. It looks like it's going to be next year. We're okay for now. One of the concerns I have is that we have a lease. We have a visitor center as well. So it's a storefront. So it's a little bit higher rent than an office on a second or third floor. So we'll have to analyze that. The storefront right now, obviously it's closed, it's shuttered up, but we're paying rent still and paying our bills and just working hard for our members.
And Renee,
this morning I was able to sit in on a coffee clutch, if you will, hosted by the Miami LGBT Chamber, and one of the things that I found really interesting that Steve Atkins, the president and CEO of that chamber, shared with everybody is, the LGBT business community, the LGBT community, period. We are such a resilient community. So that was the first time that I had actually kind of thought about that, and that really gave me some hope about how we're going to kind of navigate and get through what we're all kind of dealing with. Anna, how do you see the state kind of rebounding in terms of our business community? I know you are such a visionary, and you've got some great ideas, and you always are good about sharing them with us. What are your thoughts on how the state is gonna rebound?
Well, I definitely think that directly impacted communities, small businesses included, and the LGBTQ plus community should be at the center of that discussion. The governor mentioned yesterday a task force that would be the planning team for opening up Florida, which again, I don't want to ever be premature with those type of decisions, because obviously we want to make sure we get past COVID-19 in a safe way and open Florida back up based on public health officials' recommendations. And so I do want to make sure that public health officials are a part of that task force. But I've also already asked the governor's office about small businesses, and maybe like 30 minutes ago, I sent the governor's office a few names of people from our district that are leaders in the Main Street community. And one is LGBTQ, because I wanted to make sure that their voices are heard in that process. And, I don't know if they'll get appointed, but just know that we're advocating for that. Because I really do want small businesses to be the center of the conversation, because right now we're hearing that small businesses, as I mentioned earlier, are getting left behind. And maybe an hour ago, I got an email from the director of our Department of Revenue, because I requested that he let me know when Florida's corporate income tax refunds will be going out, which is something I'm very passionate about, but it's frustrating because, long story short, Florida is giving away $543 million to the state's largest corporations right now, based on a 2018 tax cut. And I would argue that those companies getting checks right now does not make sense when small businesses and working Floridians can't get their checks, but the money went out. And so, we continue to just call out some of the disparities among what businesses tend to get more resources than others. And I'm very grateful to our local chambers who prioritize small businesses and are their voice in so many spaces. So we're going to make sure that those are the folks who lead the conversation. I will say that it's, whatever timeline is recommended to us, I think it will have to be slow and steady. And I know that tourism can often be one of the slowest industries to jump back in. And so we're likely going to have to continue to consider, what does that mean for Florida, especially when it comes to our budget conversations, and to make sure that the workers in these industries are going to be well supported no matter what the pace is over time. I'm very concerned about us getting out of the heart of COVID and getting through the peak and being able to manage surges and get to a place where we feel comfortable opening the state back up. But then, since tourism might be delayed in that, there could not be layoffs. There could be terminations, right? And so I want to make sure that Florida is prepared for any type of wave of employment, and that we have long-term relief planned in case those Floridians who are still in this very volatile industry of tourism are going to have support that they need.
Yeah, and that's important. That's an important point in terms of the industry as a whole of tourism, how they're really taking a really tough hit, and that includes all the small businesses and all the supply chain upstream and downstream from all that that line of business or whatever. Can you guys give me an idea of any industries that you have identified or are seeing that are actually doing well? Kelly, you mentioned a couple of folks that you've been working with. What other industries are you seeing that are really kind of doing well?
Were you asking me or just anyone?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Well, I said,
I didn't put my blinker on.
Well, like I said earlier, I'm not sure I'm seeing anyone who's doing well. Besides maybe the Zoom and those online platforms, but they're not local here. But we are seeing we're seeing the resourcefulness. So we have a couple different promotional product companies that are excellent and wonderful. And when you need, new pens or coffee mugs or whatever for your business, ask me and I will definitely set you up. But for now, since nobody's ordering any of that stuff, they're using their supply chain contacts to get PPE, for the much needed protective equipment. Which has been really neat because that's not something that these companies normally sell, but they've been able to get masks and many other things. So that's kind of an interesting outcome.
Yeah. And that really, Renee, that hits the point that I think Anna and really everyone was making throughout about the resilience of the community. We've been saying that from the beginning. We have been through hell in the past. We are and we know how to come out of it stronger because we rely on community and we rely on our cohesion with other communities to get through tough moments. We're seeing some amazing leadership in our community, especially LGBT people. We say it all the time at the NGLCC. We're the entrepreneurs of our own lives. We've always had to be. It's what makes our businesses stronger. We have to choose when the moment is right to strike, to be ourselves, to be authentic, to do all the things that we know make our lives richer and apply those to business. And that's particularly true in this moment. We're seeing, as I think as all of us would agree, and certainly our chambers are a testament to the power of that family connection. You can search all the databases you want, but if you call up Kelly or Keith, or you reach out to our engagement center, the NGLCC, and I say, really quickly, I only have an hour, but do you know 5 companies that do X? Do we ever? And we'll get them on the line. We'll have them ready for you because we know how to work our network, our family of LGBT connections so well, so quickly. And we're hearing such great stories. And I encourage anyone on this call to reach out to us and tell us, what are your businesses doing that is making a difference? We're seeing some brilliant pivots, as Kelly mentioned. We have multiple LGBT-owned distilleries around the country converting to making sanitizer and selling that. And Kelly's point about the swag and the promotional companies, many of them already had pre-filled orders for conferences that have been postponed, and they're selling these bottles of hand sanitizer for 10 what they cost to make sure that they get out to market. We've got we recently connected a lesbian-owned trucking company to New York City and State because they desperately needed trucks to move equipment around the city. They just couldn't get enough for the region up there. We're trying to connect anyone and everyone, but we also want to tell that story of our community is stepping up. And I think to Anna's point about unemployment, on the other side of this, particularly in Florida, we're going to be looking at those small businesses who are innovating employment opportunities as well. We are going to need jobs for more people, particularly those who are in some of those harder to recover industries where people are getting used to getting back on cruises and hotels again. People who can help be experts in moving your event and your conference to an online format. People who can help create new pathways of employment in a way that also doubles down on what we know to be true about LGBT and really all minority-owned businesses, which is 2 to 1, if not higher, if not more, higher diverse employees, because we know the importance of an inclusive workplace, just like we know the importance of an inclusive supply chain. And I think, particularly with Kelly on the call, this is a good time to plug the importance of, as you're talking to your city and state legislators about what they're doing to make sure businesses are protected, ask them what they're doing to make sure that the businesses in their communities have the accessibility to sell and work with the state. Kelly is in Orlando, the first city in the state of Florida that recognized LGBT-owned businesses in their supply chain the way they do with other minorities. That's spread to Orange County, countywide, to Tampa, to other, and now we're talking through Keith and Steve and other amazing leaders around the state about making this a statewide initiative, the way we're seeing it in so many other major states. Because if we want to put people back to work, let's put our small businesses back to work right away, since they're the ones already hiring tens of thousands of other minorities into their supply chain. That's how we pay it forward most effectively.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, well said. As a reminder, if you're just joining us, we are coming to you live in our town hall, courtesy of Equality Florida. Today's topic is LGBT businesses in the state of Florida. And if you have not already done so, please like the Facebook pages for Equality Florida, for Equality Means Business, and for Open Doors. To all of our panelists, what are the folks that are listening in and that are watching us today? What are some things that they can be doing now to kind of to help small businesses, to kind of be supportive of their efforts? And we'll start with Keith. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, like I had mentioned, I think earlier in my comments, what we're wanting to do is work with all of our members to try to get them to relook at things, take a moment, since they have a few moments with everything shut down, to try to make a business plan going forward, update their information that they have online. We found a lot of people are kind of still in shock, I think, from this. It came out of nowhere almost. It just hit home to everyone. And a lot of people are just seen, from our perspective, from the Chamber's perspective, they're seen sort of stuck. And that's what we're trying to help people to look at the positives in this, the time that we have now to go through things and plan for the future, based, the best that we can, although no one knows exactly when that will be, but just to be ready for when things start rolling back. So.
And I'll just add to that.
Kelly, any thoughts?
Yes. So what people can be doing now, if you're not a business owner and you're just looking to help, the gift card idea is fantastic. It's especially if you're afraid, like me, of going out of the house right now. You can order them online. I have asthma. I'll just explain why I'm afraid to leave the house. But gift cards are great. If you are ordering takeout, definitely shop local. Order takeout, all the things that you need many of our small businesses are still providing them. Many are delivering or providing no contact takeout or pickup. And so I just encourage you to shop local. Now, if you're a business owner, there are several things that you can do. That is, if you're already involved with a chamber, definitely follow what they're doing. If you're not involved, you should seek us out, because we are here for our members, but we're also here for the entire community. And I'm sure that the others have been doing this too, where we're working with our other local chambers, the other diverse chambers, the big chamber, all of them, and we're sharing our webinars and our resources, and so there are so many things out there to help right now, and you just have to let us know what you need, and we'll help. We'll do whatever we can to help.
Yes.
Great. Jonathan, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
Now's the time to be involved at the scale that makes sense for you. It can also feel really overwhelming right now in this moment. I feel like we all have to be doing something all the time. And honestly, to Kelly's point, one of the most easy to do things that's both self-care and care for the community is shop local. If you're trapped indoors, get on your phone, buy that gift card, order from Seamless, from that local restaurant you love. Keep them afloat, because we want them here on the other side of this. Think shop local, shop LGBT, shop diverse. These are those micro businesses that are often the most at risk of any kind of hit like this, because they're the ones who usually have the least access to capital, or usually newer businesses, smaller businesses, and they need us standing with them the way they always seem to stand with us to throw their doors open when the community needs them after some kind of massive event. So, and then the other thing to remember is, especially in the LGBT community, remember our power in this moment and always. You'll see it in any op-ed the NGLCC writes about the power of the LGBT dollar. I mentioned the 1.7 trillion we put into the economy as business owners, but every year, we spend $917 billion as consumers. And we as a community and our allies pay a lot of attention to where that money goes. We are very conscious consumers. We look at, are they buying from LGBT businesses in their supply chain? Are they on the HRC Corporate Equality Index as a place that's good, that takes care of our community? Do they give back? So look for those who are standing up for the right thing now. Reward the companies who are keeping their employees on, who are providing discounts and services for people like us, who are investing in our local chambers and our local businesses, who have always been there through the Open for All pledge for businesses, and will continue to be with us now. Be smart with your dollars at all times. It's one of the strongest levers we have to control our own strength in the economy right now, and always. So we as LGBT citizens can influence our allies to think smart with their dollars, think local, think small, think diverse, and think about the big picture, which is we're in this together, and our collective dollars can really make a difference in helping our local communities stay strong.
Yeah. That's great. So before we finish our discussion, I want to take a look at some of the questions that have come in on our comment section. I see one from Sean Williams. Sean says, I'm seeing a lot of hurting businesses. Many, I'm afraid, will not make it through to the other end of this crisis. What advice do you have for those business owners? Anybody want to take that one?
Well, don't everybody speak at once.
I can take it too. I mean, it's a very real fear for our small businesses that folks are not going to make it. And I did mention a petition that we have earlier, and I'll make sure that we share that in this Slack. I'll actually pull it up, or the chat. I'll pull it up right now until I have it closed. But we are fighting to help small businesses not have to never open back up. But it is a very real fear, especially knowing just the delay in relief options, the delay for unemployment insurance. But just know that we're fighting for more funding towards the bridge loan program. We're fighting for a better relief system and CARES Act 2.0. And I definitely want to echo Kelly's point about asking for help. Contact your state lawmakers, contact your chambers. This is a time to ask for help. And I know that for so many of our small business owners, they've never had to do that before. And just let go of any, pride, pun intended, let go of the pride and ask for help, right? And we'll find a way to be there for you. I'm constantly texting small business owners daily, trying to navigate with them these type of issues, calling the right people to help, holding companies accountable, like your lenders or your landlords, right? One of the biggest issues we've heard with our small business owners in Orlando has been landlords who are not expressing flexibility and trying to evict people. And I want you to know that Florida has a 45-day suspension on evictions for residential properties. It didn't include commercial. So the petition that we're going to post soon includes to add commercial properties to this as well. However, I will say that in Florida, the courts are not doing any eviction hearings. And I know many sheriffs are not engaging in any evictions either. So you do have some protection with evictions. And again, in that situation, I would encourage you to ask your landlord who their lender is, because most lenders have been generous in offering forbearance. And if they're not going to work on that level, then I would get an attorney. I would identify a pro bono attorney, and there are legal aid organizations across the state to help. But this is the time for small businesses to not only ask for help, but to advocate for themselves. And you got allies on your side. And we got your back from here to post-COVID and after that as well. So please, please, please seek those type of resources. We don't want you to be alone out there. And just know that you have a network of folks who want to help you.
Yes.
And we want to keep businesses going. I couldn't agree more with all the points made about ask for the help you want. I always believe you do not get 100% of the things you do not ask for. And one of the reasons that NGLC is launching a couple of programs that I want everyone on here to take advantage of. Every week we have Webinar Wednesday. LGBT business owners, corporate business leaders talking about how to keep your business strong, tips and resources that are specific to business owners and helping keep our community economically strong during this time and long after. All of that's on our website. They're free. Come take advantage of them. The other big thing is on the last Friday of the month, we're starting Sip and Pitch Fridays, where business owners who want to expose their business a little bit, get some feedback on their elevator pitches, they're getting ready to go back to market and talk to people about regrowing their business, can sit and get feedback from some of the nation's top corporate business coaches and procurement professionals about how to make those stronger. And what's great is they're open to everyone. Come learn what makes a great pitch. Come learn what makes a great business if you're thinking about starting one. And then stay with that from 3 to 5 on the last Friday of the month. And then from 5 to 6 is just like this. It's an open forum. It's community and conversation, because we need these family reunions like this. We need to check in with each other, to ask the questions. Hey, who's got what? Who's making masks? Who needs a virtual hug? And everything in between. We're opening up the forum just to be together. So come for the business, stay for the community, and let us help you in whatever way that we can. And I cannot stress it enough. Support your local LGBT chambers. They are your boots on the ground fighting for your business in Florida every single day.
Thank you. I'd like to add something.
Just to echo that. Keith, go ahead.
Just on the
go ahead, Keith.
Affecting our local level, what I've been working on this week, and I'm going to be doing this every week, is putting out a list of our member businesses that are open, and if there's any limitations. For example, if it's a restaurant and they're only doing curbside, I want to put that in there. We don't need to list a business that's closed, but I want to put a little bit of information in there to try to direct the community and the members to those businesses to help them the best we can. I mean, at this point, we see a lot of things on Facebook, so I just encourage any of our members to shoot us an email. Let us know if you're having a special, if you're a restaurant that's open for delivery or whatever. We want to know so we can pass that on to people. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you all for that. And that brings us to the end of our hour. So I want to thank our panelists, our stellar panelists. State Representative Anna, we are so glad that you are doing what you do. that your accomplices that are right by your side are doing what all of you do. And we truly, truly appreciate the work that you do. For the chambers, I'm as someone who used to work in a chamber, I recognize how difficult work can be, but how rewarding it is when you know that you've made a difference in the world of your members. So I applaud you, and I wish you all of the best in getting through all of this. Just a couple of programming notes. Today's town hall was brought to you by Equality Florida, and our topic has been LGBT businesses. We hope that you've gotten some good information from today's program. Another programming note, I want to make sure that you are aware that on April 26th, it's a Sunday, Equality Florida will be hosting an unprecedented event. It is our event called Equality Live. It is going to be 7 hours worth of entertainment, of programming, of updates about our work, some really, really fun stuff. And some of us will be in drag, some of us will be sporting some happy hats as we engage with our community. As you may have seen, we were forced, because of COVID, to cancel some of our in-person events, and this is our way of engaging with our family, engaging with the people that support us, and engaging in a way that is meaningful and fun. So we hope you can join us. There's, like I said, 7 hours worth of programming. You are welcome to pop in and pop out at any point. We're also using that as a fundraiser to help to make up for some of the revenue that we did not receive from the events that we had to cancel. So I encourage you to visit our website at equalityflorida.org/equalitylive. And if you are able to make a contribution to support the event, join us for the event. And once again, thank you all for joining us today, and have a great evening.
Thank you for having us, Renee.
Thanks, buddy.
Sure.
Thank you.